I'm from Orfino, Idaho. Spent from kindergarten, from first grade to 12th grade there. Graduated there, came to the University of Idaho. Moved out of the area, came back because we love Moscow so much. So as my kids went into the schools, I wanted to follow them. I knew I wanted to be a teacher from the time that I was in kindergarten, helping other students learn how to read. So it's always been what I wanted to do in life, is to be a teacher. Here at Moscow High School, I teach ninth grade English and sometimes essentials classes as well, those for students that are having a hard time keeping up at grade level. I really enjoy my job, but I also like the extracurriculars that I get to also participate in. This year I'm advising the Games Club. Students come and play board games, they play Magic the Gathering. Some of the kids are really into Pokemon, and it just gives them a nice place to get together with like-minded people in my classroom on Fridays. I also like to be a part of things at school, so the freshman class impressed me so much this year that I decided to be a freshman class advisor.
Why did you become a teacher?
I think that it was watching other students, that light bulb moment thing that a lot of teachers talk about. Even when I was a student, I would watch other kids like get something. And if I could be part of that, that felt amazing. So that's the best part of my job, is when you teach a kid something and they struggle with it and they practice it, and then all of a sudden they are nailing it on a test. So that's why I wanted to be in education.
What's your favorite part about teaching at Moscow High?
I think it's the kids. I have two teenage boys at my house, and it makes their life and my life to students very relatable. I started out my classroom this year with memes decorating my walls, and all the kids knew about them and were like, oh, this teacher knows all of our meme culture. And I said, well, really, it's my kids who do, but it's a good way to get to know my students, and I feel like I can really get a connection with them knowing that I'm speaking their language in a little way.
What makes a successful lesson?
I think that you have to have good material to start with, and you have to have a tried and true plan. You also have to be ultimately flexible. When the internet goes down and you've got something that you're streaming for students to watch, or you have them on the computers and they have to turn in an assignment, what happens to your lesson if it all falls apart? You have to know how to think on the fly and be able to come up with material for an extra lesson out of the blue. So,
what kind of qualities do students look for in a teacher?
I think students want teachers to be knowledgeable. They like to know that this person is an expert in their field, so I think that's very important. It builds credibility and trust with the student. Being approachable, being human. Like I said about the memes, that makes me relatable to them. Oh, she understands it when I tell this joke. That kind of thing. I think that also they can tell when a teacher is genuine. And I really care about students, all of my students, and I'd go to bat for them if like they were my own children. And I tell them that. And I think that they respect that.
What personality traits do teachers have to be successful?
I think the best part of teaching is that you don't have to fit a mold, that you don't have to be just like the teacher that's teaching next door to you. There's a lot of variety in staff here, and even within my department of English, and I love and respect all of the teachers here because they are different from me. So I don't know that you can really say this makes a successful teacher because different people connect differently with different students.
And finally, what do you think of technology in the classroom, and how have you integrated it into your lectures?
Okay. I think the first and foremost thing is we use Google Classroom, and students, send a digital file of their paper instead of printing out 10 pages. That's something that's really common in English classes now. I use Prezis and PowerPoints for notes, Kahoot for interactive games for students to help them study, Quizlet for vocabulary. I allow my students to use their phones sometimes in class as long as it's for educational purposes. And so I think that because we live in a really highly advanced technical society, that you might as well use what you have to your benefit. So taking a picture of the board when I leave a bunch of notes up there is something that I allow my students to do.
Do you have anything to say to the students of Moscow High?
Go Bears.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.